So the parent letter has been one of my most favorite things to create. Now, I've created a few of them since this first initial one. So every 5 weeks, as a science lab teacher, we have to send home a warning letter for students that are delinquent in their lab minutes. And we would just have a form letter and then change the kid's name and then just have this paper version. But I was like, okay, this should be a lot easier. So I made one in my Sheets class. So I'm going to show you obviously how to make one with Excel. Now, like I said, these are pretty super easy. So the one that I would like you to make, I would like you to have at least one drop down menu, which you would need for the names, and a pop-up calendar. So what I did was I gave a list of like fake names. So here they are, which you could just upload your list from Infinite Campus, things like that. So this is a list of fake names. And if you look over here, this is the first ever parent letter that I made. So what I did here is this is just the image of my building. And I got that from just, Googling my school. And I just did insert image over cells, just like we did in the very first week's activity. So remember, you just go insert, and it'd be a picture. And then I did the place over cells, because this way I can move it around and I can shrink it. Because if you put it inside a cell, then it's kind of bogged in there. When you put it over the cell, you can move it. And what I did was I saved it right to my device so that I could just grab it right from my downloads. So right over here, I put, our school name, number, and everything else. So what you're going to notice that I did was I decided to have our school picture over here. And then here is where I decided I'm going to do my centering and merging. Because what I kept being conscious of is printing. So when I finished writing this, and what I did was I merged all of these to be the same. I said, okay, well, the top one is because we have a very long title. That went all the way over to F. But these ones were all just the same, stopping at E, and just merging and centering, okay? So what I did was go to File and then Print. So you could actually see what it looks like when it's all set and ready to go. So that this is pretty much the center of the page. I mean, I probably could have moved over a little bit more, but I'm perfectly happy with this. So looks like this guy's got to shrink up a little bit. There we go. So my date is over here to the left. Now right over here is a pop-up calendar. So if you click on it twice, it'll populate the date. All right, now these things are very super easy to create. So I'm just going to hop over to the direction sheet and show you how to create one really quickly. So what you do is you click on the cell that you want it in. Then you go right over here, and instead of obviously being general, it's going to be a short date. So once this guy is a short date, you can double click in him and he will become an instant pop-up calendar. If you decide you do not want the calendar in there, gotta switch it back to general and then just erase what's in there. So that's how you create a pop-up calendar. Now, so it says to the parents of, and then there is my drop-down menu. Now, remember how I created this. I decided that this is exactly where I wanted my drop-down. And I went to data, and then I went to data validation. And then under allow, it was the list, because I was getting it from a list, and then here was my list. So I said, okay, well, my list is over here. So I went to my direction sheet, highlighted all of my names, and then there you go, it totally populated it, and I hit apply. So then automatically this guy appears with all the names. Okay, so since this was my first time doing this, I wanted this to be like a one-stop shop. So I did all of my biology kids first. Okay, and now for them, I would just check that box. Everything else was pretty much the same. So it was like, okay, this is New York State regs. This is when I'm going to accept it. And here's what the student has to do. And then once again, here is my contact information. Now, when I wanted to do this for the next child, you just right click and you're going to duplicate it. Very simple. Just go over here then, change it to the next kid. Okay. And let's say that's still a biology student. Done. And then once again, duplicate again. Okay. Click on the next kid. There you go. So now when you're all said and done, and you want to print all of these, it's very simple. Just go to File, Print. Okay. You are not going to print the active sheet. You are going to print the entire workbook. Okay. So then what happens is it'll print all of these at once. It'll also print the direction sheet. Okay. Unless you stipulate, oh, I just want pages 2 to 5. So if you do that, then you're perfectly fine. And all of them will print out. So just to give you a general idea of how that works, when I needed my earth science kids, I just unchecked them and then I went to my earth science kids and I did that. And the other thing I actually did was I went here to the bottom and I changed the names. So instead of saying parent letter 1, I had this say the first kid. This would be Jackson, okay? And this would be Corinne. And then this would be Catherine. So that this way, when I sent this, I shared this with my administrator, they knew exactly who the letters are being sent to. Done. This was literally like maybe a 3-minute process. All of my colleagues use this, and it's fantastic. So when you're done creating this, you're going to put a view-only copy into the submission sheet. So you're going to go to Share, copy the link, of course, fix it in the settings. Anyone, make sure it's at View. I'm going to move Screencastify out of the way here. Hit Apply. There's my shareable link. My view-only submission sheet. Parent letter. And Control V. And then I need to just wrap. And then you're all set.